This is Ryan at SFS showing you how to start your recruiting agency in 1 hour with no website for 20 bucks. In this exercise, we're going to use some of the tactics I learned while building my own recruiting agency that scaled to 7 figures in 7 months. Then 2 years later, it was purchased from a much bigger agency and had a successful exit. We're also going to leverage some of the principles that we've used at 7 Figure Staffing to help dozens of wildly successful agencies that started from nothing, such as Restaurant Zone and Keeple, scale to 7 and 8 figures and beyond. And I will make sure that you get there too if you're ready to commit. So let's do it. All right, here we go. So I have not started anything with this yet. I don't have a website. I don't have anything going on. I've never recruited in the niche that we're going to go with here today. So let's see if this works. First, we're going to start off with some market research to determine what niche we should start a recruiting company in. For that, I'm here in ChatGPT, and we're not using any fancy ChatGPT tactics here. We're just going to ask it some questions. Basically, ask it to figure out what niche to start my business within. So what I'm showing you here is also a great way to test out a niche to see if you can get traction quickly. So let's go through just some of the things that I said to ChatGPT. I started off by saying which jobs are in highest demand today based on their appearances on job boards. And it said, based on recent data, some of the most in-demand jobs we head into 2024, blah, 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 says tech field data scientists, information security analysts. Okay, I wasn't super satisfied with that answer because I know that a lot of people in technology are getting laid off, so we can't just take that at face value. It also says nurse practitioners, but I know that I don't want to work within that because I've got a lot of clients in it and I want to try something else that we've never done before. Other notable in-demand roles include software developers with AI. I know that that's not necessarily the case anymore, so I basically need to dig a little bit deeper. And I said, I want you to scan all the job boards. Tell me which job titles appear the most in the job boards as of today. And it says, based on a scan of the current job boards, the most common titles as of May 2024, several positions stand out: salesperson, customer service representative, general and operations manager, home health, personal care aide. And it says these titles are prevalent across multiple regions in the US. Okay, but I'm actually looking for an industry. I don't just want titles that are general across all industries. I want to narrow down to one industry. So I said, I just want a list of the jobs. Don't give me paragraphs, essentially. So it says administrative assistant, executive assistant, marketing manager, customer service representative. Still not super satisfied with this. So I'm going to keep on asking it questions. So I said, what industry has the most jobs posted on job boards as of today? Rank them from 1 to 20. And it says professional services, manufacturing, consumer products, technology, healthcare, financial services, retail, government. You can see it here. Education, construction, energy, transportation and logistics, telecommunications, real estate, media and entertainment, hospitality and tourism, legal services, agriculture, insurance. Okay, not a super helpful list for you just yet. And I just verified, is this in the United States? It says yes. Define what you mean by professional services, I said. And it says occupations that provide support to businesses in the form of advice and access to expertise. So I assume what it means, well, it actually says it. It says legal, management consulting, architecture, engineering, accounting, advertising, technology. Rank the sub-niches or sub-industries within professional services that have the most demand on the job boards today. And again, it says information technology, management consulting, marketing and communications, legal services, accounting, and financial services. And I said, who is your data source for this? And it says the information about the most in-demand sub-industries within professional services is based on data from a variety of sources, US Bureau of Labor Statistics, blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking, okay, that's already outdated. The AI revolution is happening. I don't think that the US Bureau of Labor Statistics is keeping up with that. So I said, listen, I don't want reports or articles or anything like that. I don't want publication sources. I want you to scan the job boards and base your research on that. And it's like, I can't directly scan job boards or access real-time data. So I just phrased it a different way. I said, what are the most in-demand niche jobs right now? And finally, we started getting something that was actually useful. Here's what it said: wind turbine service technician. And then when I looked that up, it was kind of interesting. Let me show you. So here we are pulling up LinkedIn. We're just searching jobs on LinkedIn under the jobs tab, and we just punch in wind turbine service technician within the United States. and it gives us 689 results. So that's kind of interesting. And then if we look at renewable energy technician in general, we get another 302. What if we just scale that back to energy technician? 303. What if we just go to technician? 261,000. A lot of different technicians. Anyhow, that's an interesting one. The wind turbine service technician. Number 2, it says nurse practitioner, data scientist, information security analyst, cloud engineer, cybersecurity analyst, data analyst, full stack developer, web designer. The ones that I'm most interested in here so far is the wind turbine service technician one. I think that actually would be an interesting niche if you looked into renewable energy and technicians and installation and sales and basically a whole bunch of different job titles that could be pain points for this emerging industry. Nurse practitioner, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, but kind of been there, done that. So I'm looking for something a little bit more greenfield. Data scientist, I think that is a good one as well. In fact, if you were to focus specifically on data, I think that would be fruitful. I'm going to stay away from things like cloud, information security analyst. Not saying that you can't be successful there, but it's not somewhere that I'm interested in going right now. Full stack developer, I'm not going there. I know a lot are getting laid off. Same with web designer. AI is building websites these days, so I'm going to stay out of those as well. I said, give me non-IT, non-software related in the United States, and it says mental health specialist. That's an interesting one. Genetic counselor, I think that's an interesting one. Bicycle repair specialist, never would have thought of that. Forest fire inspector and prevention specialist, interesting. So I said create a list of 20. It gives me a lot of the same ones again. Home health and personal care aides, I agree with that one. Software developers, cooks, medical and health services, epidemiologist, physical assistant, physical therapist, assistant, occupational therapy. A lot of therapy stuff is in demand. Again, mental health here, digital content creator, genetic counselor. So some things it's repeating. When it's repeating something over and over again, I'd say that's worth another look. Do a little bit of research, look it up, see how many are open. Don't just see how many are open, but take a look at this. How many applicants are there? So if we go back to the wind turbine, 689 results, how many people are actually applying to it? 14 here, 18 here, 16 here, 0 here, 1 here, 0 here. This is actually diesel service technician. 2 here. So it's not like these are getting 200 to 1,000 applicants at this time. It's relatively low numbers, and who knows if they're actually getting qualified applicants. Let's go to the end and see the ones that have been posted for a little bit longer, potentially. Not really getting more than 10 applicants. So that's something interesting to note. So let's take a look at where the conversation goes from here. I said, what would be the best way to determine in-demand niche jobs that have high demand but low applicants? How could I find this data in an efficient way? And it gives me a bunch of things. Job board analysis. We're kind of doing that already. Industry reports and surveys. We already said we didn't want to do that. Recruitment analytics tools like Google for Jobs, Talent Neuron. I looked up Talent Neuron. Looks super expensive. You got to do a demo. They're going to try to sell you on it. I looked at it on YouTube. It didn't look like it would help necessarily for this right here. Networking and industry forums. We don't have time. We're doing this in an hour. Academic and training institutions. Don't have time. So narrowed down my query a little bit more. I said, listen, I want to start a recruiting agency, but I want to make sure that I start it in a niche that has very high demand and low applicants. Therefore, I want to access data on this quickly and be able to analyze quickly which hiring managers would be most receptive and what job titles they would be most interested in hearing about candidates for. Please suggest a step-by-step process for accessing this data in the fastest way possible. And then it gives me a bunch of stuff that I'm not interested in. Define your niche. Yeah. Market research. Indeed, Glassdoor, all that. We know that. Leverage recruitment analytics. Again, it repeats Talent Neuron. Engage in professional networks. Conduct competitor analysis. None of this stuff we're going to do in 1 hour. So I said, most of what you gave me here is missing the mark. The advice about Talent Neuron seems interesting. However, it's a paid service. I need to do free research. And I want to have this information now without doing 10 steps. And it says, use public job boards, check state and federal employment websites, still giving me stuff that I'm not really interested in. So I said, this is not what I'm looking for. Then it says LinkedIn Insights, Google Trends. Google Trends is just telling you about what are hot searches right now. I didn't think that was going to do it. Direct outreach, I don't have time. Industry meetups and webinars, don't have time. So I said, what are industries known for workforce shortages and high turnover? And ideally, these would be industries where the candidates can be found online. It says healthcare, direct care, supply chain logistics, and skilled trades. And I said, hold on a minute. Are those roles where the candidates can easily be found online? And it says yes. Healthcare, direct care, nurses, yeah. I know that there's job boards for it. Are they on LinkedIn though? There are nurses on LinkedIn, but it's not like the perfect place to go and look for them. Supply chain and logistics. Candidates in logistics and supply chain are frequently found on job boards such as Logistics Job Site and Jobs in Logistics. Okay. And skilled trades, it admits like, no, they're not really on job boards, but we are on online, but we put it here anyway. So I said, let's go with the supply chain and logistics. Let's just go down this rabbit hole and see what happens. So I said, what are some of the most in-demand roles within supply chain and logistics? And it says, here are some of the most in-demand roles: supply chain manager, logistics manager, operations manager. I don't know what the difference is between those three. Demand planner, procurement specialist, supply chain analyst, warehouse manager, transportation coordinator. Okay, fine. These are interesting because the title is manager, so they don't seem like just like the frontline laborers necessarily. There may be some labor involved in this, but this, it sounds like these are maybe office jobs or kind of on the fringe of the office and fringe of the warehouse, and I don't know where they sit, but it seems like there's a good chance that these people could be online. So when we go back to our job board here and just punch this in, supply chain manager, I found this interesting, 5,472 results. That seems pretty high. Even, we looked at the wind turbine thing. We looked at a couple others earlier. This is the highest so far. Supply chain manager. All of the keywords are kind of hitting here. Nothing is really too far outside of it. Look at, they're all supply chain related. There's like no applicants on any of them. There's no applicants anywhere. I'm not seeing any of them that say applicants. Here's one, 10 applicants. Okay, one applicant, 0 applicants, 20 applicants. Okay. And then there's a lot of different companies showing up. It's not like one company posted the same thing like 1,000 times and we're just seeing it over and over and over again. Although you are seeing a little bit of duplication. There's some right there. But it's interesting, 5,473. So let's search the next one here. Logistics manager, over 1,000. So if we add those together, we're easily over like 6,000 at this point. Some of them are probably duplicated. Then we got warehouse manager. So if we keep going down the list, I'm not going to do operations manager. Let's just look at demand planner. 659, not bad. Procurement specialist. Let's look at supply chain analyst real quick. Over 4,000. That's interesting. Now, is that also a demand planner? Is a supply chain analyst the same as a demand planner? Why did demand planner come up for supply chain analyst? The other thing that's kind of interesting is a lot of these jobs seem to be remote. That tells me that these people are definitely online. Maybe they're jobs that are easier to sell, possibly because they're remote. I don't know. I see some are on site, but over 4,000 is definitely interesting. Let's just go back here. Warehouse manager, 1,700. So without going any further in my research, I have a niche here that I'm willing to try out further. I'm willing to take this to the logical conclusion, and I'm willing to see where this goes. Okay, so let's go to the next step. So the next step, I'm gonna need a name. What did I do? So I was like, okay, what are the top supply chain companies in the world? And it gave me a bunch of stuff I wasn't really interested in. It said Amazon, Apple, P&G, Unilever. Like, these are not primarily supply chain companies. I realize they're supply chain enormous, and that makes them the top supply chain companies in the world. But I'm not looking for like specifically retailers and consumer packaged goods companies. So I said, those are retailers and consumer packaged goods companies. Who are the top specifically logistics companies? And then it gave me what I was looking for. DHL, UPS, FedEx, DB Schenker, Nippon, Kane and Nagel, etc. The reason I'm asking for this is I want to just kind of get a sense for how these companies are branded. If you've seen my other videos, you know I don't necessarily want to brand like a recruiting agency. I want to brand like a logistics company. And then I said, what name should I give my logistics recruiting company? And it gave me a bunch of things that I would never find a domain for. None of these are horrible, but it's not quite what I'm looking for. So I said, can you create words that would not be already registered as domains? and it gave me a bunch of words that are already registered as domains. And none of them were really great, but then I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, navigator, careers. Is there something I can do with navigator? Navigator, nav. So I was like, all right, let's put another A in nav. And I know I'm not going to get nav, like even with 2 A's. I'm not going to get that .com. I'm not going to get the .com, but I could get nav with 2 A's, hiring.com, and move on. And that would be pretty unique. At least the branding would be pretty unique. There's not too many companies that are called nav with 2 A's in there. I'm just going to go with that. Here's the next thing that we're going to do. As you can see here, we've got the domain queued up and Namecheap, and we're going to go ahead and grab that. All right, so we are now the proud owners of navhiring.com. It was $10.46. That is our primary investment. Now, what else do we need? We're going to need some email. So let's go down here to private email. I'm just going to go ahead and start a free trial in Namecheap. Okay, let's see what we got. 5 mailboxes included, 75 gigabytes. We're not going to need nearly that amount. And then when the trial is over after 2 months, then it is $4.55 per month. And that's for 5 mailboxes. We're going to use the domain I own with Namecheap. And I think that means we're ready to send some emails. Okay, so what do I need to send some emails? Well, I got an email account. Probably a little bit more setup to do with that, maybe. I'm not sure. We're going to find out. But I'm going to need a signature. And in my signature, I want to have a logo. I want to have a logo. So I'm going to slap together a quick logo. So I'm going to fire up Canva and get that moving. So I'm in Canva here and search templates, logistics, company logo. I think we're going to do something with this one. And we're just going to go get rid of this. So I'm just going to download that transparent and we're going to create mailboxes. So I've never created a mailbox here before. Just going to make up a name here. I'm going with alex.morton. The reason I'm going first name dot last name is because it just kind of telegraphs a larger company. If we just went alex@navhiring.com, it's like a lot smaller. When these emails come into somebody's mailbox, I don't want them to know how large the company is. So the next step, I wanted to find a pain point and use that to start marketing to hiring managers. But we kind of found a pain point. If we go back to supply chain manager, we know that in addition to logistics manager, we had over 6,000. So it looks like we have a pain point here. Now we need to start emailing these companies. All right, meet the hiring team. Come work alongside with some of the most talented minds in the ag tech industry. We are a team of innovators. So that suggests that this is not a recruiting company. That's good. So when you're going through these, make sure you're not marketing to a recruiting company. Super important. Diane Dietrich. Is this somebody that we should send a message to? Right away, I can tell you that the answer is no, because they are a talent acquisition manager. And keep in mind that by sending a message to somebody like this, you're threatening their job. So the chances of a talent acquisition person getting you to the right place or wanting to onboard you as a vendor is next to zero, especially right now when talent acquisition people internally are not doing the best. So we want to go around Diane. Diane doesn't have any applicants for this role, and there's a good chance that she's having trouble sourcing for the role. The reason I know that is because a lot of times internal talent people don't know how to source. They know how to interview, they know how to move people along in the process, but they don't really know how to source. A lot of times they need external vendors to really get things moving and to really move the needle. So I'm going to head over to Sales Navigator and I'm going to look for somebody in this company that is going to be a better prospect than that person. So this is a company of 103, probably a little bit more. A lot in San Francisco. It seems to be like a supply chain tech company type thing, if I was to guess, just based on a very quick glance. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for VPs. when it's a small company like this, you could also look at the CEO. You could also look at founders. VP of product, no. VP of marketing, no. VP of channel solution, no. Chief executive officer, possibly. 100-person company. I know that the CEO is getting involved in the hiring for key roles. And for a role where everybody knows it's a pain point, the CEO is going to get your message to the right person. So I would consider sending old Ben Slaughter a message here. Oh, that's confusing. 2 CEOs. Interesting. Okay. And the reason for that is because this is not the company. This is Arable Advisory Group, and this is actually Arable. It's actually James. So I'm going to open up James. Vice President, Country Manager. That's India, so no. VP Software, no, 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 no. It's all no so far. Okay. So I'm going to go right to the CEO. Quickest way to do this, I like to use Wizza here to go ahead and find the email and phone number. I want to assume that you're not paying for Wizza. I'm going to assume that you want a free solution. For that, we're going to take arable.com and we're going to head over to hunter.io and we're going to use the free domain search here. Punch that in and see what we can get. And boom, who's that? That's him. Got it. Okay. Click the copy. Got it. Come on over to our mail. Now, before we can send this, what do we need? There's something key that we need. We need a signature real quick. Settings, here we go. And mail. Signatures. Cool. Add a new signature. Signature name. We'll call it main. And it's going to be Alex Morton, partner relations. And we're going to just put in the email for a phone number. Not going to put a phone number. Not going to put one. And we're going to put in the logo. All right. Quite simple. So we're going to save that. So now we're going to send some emails. Now we're going to send an email and we know who we're sending it to, right? Jim Ethington. If you want to make sure that you don't make a mistake, maybe put in that signature at the end. And I'm going to show you the email that we're going to send. First thing that we're going to do is go back to the description of the pain. And we're going to look for the key thing that they need. So I'm going to take a template that I've actually shown folks from another video. And we're just going to adapt it right here. We're going to say supply chain manager in Bay Area. And paste this plain text. And we're going to say, hi Jim, I'm working with newly relocated supply chain, 9+ years of experience. I noticed, what's the company called? Arable has an open role that looks well suited and wanted to explore if there may be an opportunity for a partnership to cover the vacancy. Are you leading the hiring efforts on this one? And is it still a need? Thank you. That's the message. We're going to send off our first message for our new recruiting company. This is it. This is the launch, guys. This is the launch of our new recruiting company right here. If he's interested, then we got to start finding a supply chain manager pretty quick. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now, we're going to pitch the inventory and see if we can get a bite. We're throwing the bait in the water, see if we can hook something and reel it in. Just like that. That's what we're trying to do. That's the process. Keep doing them. You got to go down the whole list. We've got 5,000. We've got 5,000 to do here. I don't think it's going to take 5,000, right? You're pitching bait that is just too good. You're putting the chum in the water. It's too good. Somebody's gonna bite, and then we're gonna have the next step. So that's the plan. We're gonna throw a whole bunch more bait in the water. We're gonna throw it out to Arable, Higher Dose, Eberj, Minate Energy, Thrive Cosmetics, wherever. We're gonna throw all that bait in the water. Pretty much the same bait over and over again, and we're gonna get some bites, and I'm gonna show you the bites in the next video, and we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. All right, it's a little later in the day here, but I'm gonna try to get some more of these emails out. So let's look at Higher Dose. So for this one, I think I would go directly to this person who is the co-founder and CEO. Let's go to the website, grab this, put it into Hunter. There she is. Okay, Katie at Higher Dose. So let's just say Katie wasn't here. right? Let's just say her email wasn't here. A lot of times we can see what the format is for their emails. So in this case, it's either first name at higherdose.com. The original people at the company just have their first names, or it's first name, last initial at higherdose.com. So if you saw a bunch of first name, last initials, and you didn't see the contact that you wanted, you can reasonably deduce what the email is based on that information. So now remember, we want to just quickly go back and see what the critical skill set is. So we're going to say 4+ years of experience and startup experience. So I want to get the wording that we sent to Jim. Just grab that, and we said supply chain manager in Bay Area. For this one, we're going to say see what I did there? 4+ years of experience from a startup environment. That's huge. Newly relocated supply chain manager has 4+ years of experience from a startup environment. I noticed Higher Dose has an open role that looks well suited and wanted to explore if there may be an opportunity for a partnership to cover the vacancy. Are you leading the hiring efforts on this one? Is it still a need? Thank you. There we go. Do I still have the email copied? I don't think I do. I grab it again. Got 2 hunters open, so I'm going to close one and put this here and send that out. Next, Eber J. Chain manager, Thrive Cosmetics. So I'm guessing that this is a bigger company, but let's just take a look. So this time, it doesn't say anything about the hiring committee or whatever, hiring team. So we just got to go and find like a VP or something. So let's start by figuring out how large the company is. Thrive Cosmetics. Yeah. Founder and CEO. Let's just see how big it is by getting rid of these. CEO founder, 85 results. Probably go to the CEO again. Or in this case, we could go to the head of talent acquisition. When it's a head of talent acquisition, you're not necessarily threatening their jobs as much if they are actually a growing company, but might just be better to just go right to the top. Let's go to the CEO. Krista Bodnar. Okay, so we're going to grab the domain. Here it is. Hunter. There she is. So we'll wait to grab that. I'm going to go back and get the critical. Minimum of 7 to 10 years experience in procurement or supply chain management, particularly beauty or personal care industry. So basically, pretty much impossible requirements. So we'll just say they have 7 years of experience from the personal care industry. 7 years of experience from the personal care industry coming right up. But let's just take a look at where they are. Washington, so basically Seattle. See where she is. Seattle. Supply chain manager. The other thing I often like to do here is shorten the name. Sometimes I would use an acronym for them. I could say like, I noticed that TC has an open role that looks well suited. The reason I would do that is it like really shows, it's a way to just like subtly personalize the message. And it really shows that this is not an automated message. This is not a bulk message. Like you're getting a personal message from someone. And we're just gonna grab her email, which is here, and we can fire that off. So far, we're just really sending it to CEOs, and the reason for that is simply because of the size of companies. So if they're like 100-person startups, I'm telling you that the CEOs get heavily involved. As we find bigger companies here, we're not going to go as high up in the chain. I kind of want to go for a bigger company, so here's a bigger company. Amgen, I recognize it. Much bigger, so this is a good example of a larger company. So let's see how we would penetrate. So if we go over here into Amgen, 34,000 results. Gotta try to narrow that down a little bit. So 19 down to 19,000. Let's go VP, 244 VPs, vice president. And we're going to go up in the keywords, we're going to put in supply chain. Is that what it's called? Let's just double check. Yeah, supply chain. Now we got 19. So VP of regional supply chain. Let's just see where this one is. So it says it's remote, biotechnology company. Let's just see leadership, proficiency in agile, experience in validated systems, background supply chain, logistics management. Okay, so we're going to say that they're SAP experts. Mike Davies might be one. Chief Procurement Officer. It's a tough one to know. You could probably send it to a couple different ones here. I think this person is too high up. Let's see who this person reports to. DTI, I wonder what that is. Well, when in doubt, we'll just go up higher. So we're gonna send it to Michelle here. I'm actually going to try to search her a different way. I wanna do a finder. Okay, so I'm glad you watched this far because we're doing this one a little bit different. We didn't find her, but we're gonna see the results for Amgen and we're gonna get a good sense for how they do things. Ooh, weird. First name dot last name at amgen.com. First initial last name at amgen.com. First name dot last name. Ooh, that's tough. That is tough. Wow, first name last initial at amgen.com. This is really rare. You don't really see this very often. Now, okay, let's look at the verified ones. So this is a last name, first initial that's verified. That one's verified. First initial, last name verified. Wow, that is rough. That's rough. Okay, we have to guess. You know what? For this one, I'm gonna go with Wizza. Tiebreaker. All right. Let's craft the email. See how many years they wanted here. Does not say. Or does it? Yeah. Let's go with 6+. From biotech. Amgen has an open role that looks well suited and want to explore if there may be an opportunity for a partnership to cover the vacancy. Okay, I think that's good to go. Got to go back and grab this, throw it in, and there we have it.